You ready?
Ready, dog.
All right. This is Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Oh no, my computer's not muted. It's Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio.
I can tell you, though, it sounds really good, Joey.
Well, thanks, Matt. I appreciate you saying that.
All right, today we're going to talk about grind.
Gosh,
The
sounds
grind.
great.
And what does that mean, the grind?
Like a THE grind or like THA grind, like the grind?
I don't know. I never heard of DHA grind.
You never heard of the?
No.
Oh, the is like it's like a 21st century, but it's like a, it's like an
21st
emphasis.
I do live in the 21st century, you know that.
Yeah, but it's like an emphasis on like the, but it's like the.
Da.
Yeah.
Da,
The
da, da.
grind.
All right. Well, either way, it's a grind, is what it is, Joey.
All right.
So we just got out of master class. Well, day one master class.
I was about to say, I mean, there's another day to go tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. So talk to me, Joey, about what yesterday was like for you.
Yesterday was kind of a blur.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I felt like, I don't know, it just went by super quick.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a lot going on, lots of moving pieces, but it was really cool. I felt like all the scenes did super well.
Yeah, I agree.
For the first one,
Mm-hmm.
for the first day. 3 out of 5 of them were new masterclass students.
Right.
And I felt like, honestly, I was like, dang, they were way better than I was when I started. So that means a lot of things, but one is they did the work, and two is we were getting better at teaching, you know.
Yeah, there's a testament
before-
to the program in general.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah. And there's a thing that I feel like this idea of the grind is something that that you've actually picked up on, and something that you had inside you already, because I believe everybody has this inside them at all times. But not until you learn to appreciate it and to apply it wherever does it work out for you. You know, in the long run.
Sure.
So like, you know, like I'm fully aware that the last couple days were kind of hard for you in particular. I know they were hard for me, and even the last couple weeks have been a super grind for us around here.
Yeah.
And there's reasons, ins and outs, and nobody cares. So I'm not going to talk about that, because it's not that important. But this idea of putting your head down and just doing every day is hard. Like sometimes you just want to bury your head. You know, you wanna hide from the pain, hide from the everything you've got going on, instead of walking into it and going like, all right, like really, what can I do today, instead of like, let me back off and just go to sleep. Because honestly, I mean, that's what we want to do half the time.
Yeah. Dang it. I didn't have the camera on me for the physical representation I was giving for you.
I thought the camera was on you.
I thought it was too, and then I looked at the iPad and I was like, well, I guess the switcher didn't work when I
that's
pressed
funny.
it. So I was just being silly for no reason.
Well, it was good for my soul, Joe.
Nick said, your generation's phrases are just nonsense words.
I agree.
And then
I agree. That's a comment to you, Joey.
Joanne said, good morning, sunshines. Nick said, that was a low energy response, Joey, JK.
I love the good morning, sunshines.
Yeah.
That's become Joanne's thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Sunshine.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a message for everybody out there today, and it's revolving around the idea of the grind and what that means. And I was talking to a couple students last night, and after class, and this happens sometimes where people, they'll ask me questions about whatever after class, and so somebody stopped me and was like, they actually wanted some life advice. And it was like, hey, so I got this job, and I'm thinking about this other job because it pays a little more, and what do you think? And we kind of got down this path, and I said, okay, but truthfully, you've been in and out of a few different jobs in the last, say, 5 years. You've tried this, tried that, tried this, tried that. And if you keep jumping to a new place because they pay a little more, or this boss is a little nicer, or whatever it is, I'm like, you don't have that like stick with itness that is so important. So I was like, at this point in your life, you got to start making some choices. And my thought was, not everybody's cut out to own the business. Owning the business comes with its own set of stressors, and you really need to be a certain personality type to like thrive in that space. You gotta have the guts to go all in sometimes. You really do have to be willing to lose it all. You have to be willing to put everything on your shoulders. So to own a business, honestly, it's not for everybody. That's why a lot of people start businesses and they fail.
Yeah.
But everybody has the grind inside them. So whether or not you want to own a business or be like successful within someone else's business, like that's just as great to be successful within someone else's business. And so this particular person was trying to figure out whether or not they should keep working at Lowe's or whether they should move over and work for a construction company. The construction company paid a couple dollars an hour more. And so I started asking, questions, and like, they love working where they're at. They love it. And they're progressing, and they're already getting noticed, and been talk of a promotion and different things. And I just like, okay, well, what is, and I actually talked about the grind. I was like, so what does it look like day in, day out in each different company? And if you stop looking short term, but you start looking long term, and I'm like, it can feel like a long time a year from now. Like, oh, it's a long time. And it can feel like a long time 5 years from now, if nothing's happened. 5 years, ugh. But I was like, what about 25 years from now? What if every day you showed up with a smile? What if every day you got known as the person that had a smile on their face that brought joy into this establishment? What if every single day you looked for more work to do after your work was done? What if every single day you asked good questions and said, hey, is there something else I can help you with? Is there something I can learn? I'd love to learn something new. What if you did that every single day for the next 25 years? Look down the road. What position do you have at the company? And without hesitation, this person says, well, at least a store manager. And I go, at least a store manager. That's right.
No, he's given the low last name at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm like, at least a store manager. And here's the thing. You may want to rise above that. They may want to raise you above that. How would that happen though? There's probably going to be some restrictions. You gotta get some schooling.
Yeah.
So who knows? 10 years from now, maybe then you go back to school to keep rising.
Yeah.
Maybe they pay for it. I mean, you don't know the opportunity that could be there, but it does take a certain level of stick-with-itness, because it's not like it's like one is better than the other. It's not like that.
Yeah.
But there is something to picking something and thriving in it, and doing it when it's hard, doing it when it feels boring and monotonous, to just repeat the same thing, knowing that in the end it's going to pay off for you eventually.
Yeah.
And,
You-
and we do live in a generation, I'm sorry, we do live in a generation, and there's a generation coming up that does like to jump around a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you give the example of the professional coach with the professional violinist. And
Right.
it's like, when they're in grind mode, they work on a couple of notes and it sounds awful, so that that person can go out and play Carnegie Hall, and it's the most beautiful thing that almost everybody in the audience has ever heard.
You know, it's funny.
Because of that idea of you sit on the one note and the one note and the one note, and what sounds bad and what can be tweaked, and your arm angle can be better here.
Right.
You know, that makes it easier and makes them even closer to mastery in that one thing. You can do that in any field.
Correct.
And like going back to school, doing that, going through all that, that was like really hard. But it's funny because like now that it's over, there's an element of freeness. That's a terrible word to use there.
Freedom is good.
Freedom that came with it, but also like you said, with that person's position, like, I'm very open to the possibility of eventually needing schooling in something, whether it be production or whatever. And I'm like, cool, that's a better time, in my opinion, for my life at least. That's a better time to go to college than right now or 2 years ago or when everybody says you have to go.
Right.
Because you know what you're doing. Ideally, you have this your own financial blanket a little bit, and it's a plan that you make. And then it becomes something where you're investing in yourself versus being something you're kind of ungrateful for, or you go there and you never use your degree because you didn't know what you wanted to study in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where colleges are going to be in general moving forward because of the pandemic and because things have been changing anyway, going online and doing different things. I mean, you can learn now from like Harvard, and you can take classes here, via online, and you can watch the show and gain a ton of knowledge every single day.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta stop you there because
What's that?
I found out this interesting fact last night.
What's that?
So Astrid, before she came to the studio, you remember how you were like, during her first class, you were like, this is the best improv class we've ever had.
Yeah.
It was the first improv class back from the pandemic. But her specifically, she was like really, really good. And I remember talking about it. For a first-time student, like all things considered, nothing on the resume, like she was really good.
Okay.
And then we were talking around the desk last night and watching some old game tape and stuff. And we went back to like October of 2019.
Okay.
She's been watching our stuff since then.
Oh.
So it took her like 6 months or 4 months.
So she had been training basically at home.
Yeah, and then I literally told her that on the spot. I was like, no wonder you were so much better when you came in than most people, because you understood where we're coming from.
Yeah.
You bought in first. You watched these concepts.
She was already grinding.
Yeah, and that blew my mind. I was like, well, duh. That's amazing. That's huge.
Yeah.
And it's so cool, because even like I was quoting something from the teen showcase, and then I was like, you guys probably don't know what that is. And she goes, no, I watched the teen one too. like she just watches everything, and I love that.
Well, it's funny because I do remember that class very well, because it was a special energy, and it was that one class post-pandemic that was, just kind of was like, all right, we're getting things back on track. Like
Yeah.
It was hard to describe the energy that happened that night. But Astrid in particular, actually, this is a funny story. I was intimidated by her. And it's because she was like this cool girl. She got like tattoos, and she had a really intense look on her face. And now that I know her, I know she was nervous. And probably because she was watching this show and stuff like that, so she was like just nervous. But her nerves came out as intensity. And she was like, she was taking notes, but it was one of those things where like, and I don't remember if we were wearing masks at the time. We must have been. So just imagine just an intense look, you know, and this girl's like pretty good on stage, and I'm like, does she hate me? I didn't know, you know.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
But you know, what else is funny too is that's one of those things where, you know me, I take a thing like that and I go, all right, like, because I don't know. I never cast judgment or anything, but because I don't know, I actually, I always take that as a challenge. I'm like, if this person is a certain way and feels a certain way, and if they are a certain skill level, and if they're looking at this going, I wonder if he has more to teach. Like, I take that and I go, boom, I'm gonna bring it next time. Like, I level up. I look for the way to go, okay, how are we gonna go next level, you know?
Yeah.
So I actually, even if I'm wrong, I'd rather default on the side of like, you're casting judgment on me and you're expecting more out of me, and not even in a bad way. Like, I don't even look at that person and go, oh, they're a jerk. Like, I look at that person and go, oh, they want to challenge me. Let's go. Let's go.
Astrid just said good morning, everyone, so she missed all the talk about
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. She'll go back and look at
Astrid
it.
missed all the tea.
She can go back and look at it.
Yeah. Nick said, of the classes that stick out, that's the one I remember. He also did this star and said, freedom.
Freedom! So here's the thing, too. I was going to say, truthfully, if you've been in the in-person classes recently, we've dealt with a bit of mastery, and I've jumped in and done a bit of start-stop coaching. And just so you all know, too, as a teacher, it's just as much not fun as it is for you. Not fun. And maybe you think it differently, that you think I think of it that way, but I don't. Like, when it's not good, it's not fun. I'm not like thrilled about it, you know.
Yeah.
When it hurts, when it's painful, you know.
That's such a good point.
And I know you, like, even the class you were in 2 weeks ago, and I was like, how was class, you know, because I could tell like we were growing, and you were like, oh, it's tough, and I was like, I know. And so like I get in my head about it, because I mean I always want the program to be fun and have you learn, have it be fun and have you learn.
Yeah.
But there are times when we really we dig in deeper. Well, what's interesting is, like, the in-person classes recently, the last week, we did a showcase, and I'll check myself here, because I have this like, I have this flip of a switch, and like when I know something, I want to help and I want to teach it. And people tell me like a lot. They're like, I want you to grind on me, you know, like I want you to rip me apart. Like, they say they want that, right? But then when it happens, they're not all that thrilled about it.
Yeah.
And so it was a showcase night. So the truth is, I don't know what I should have done. I don't know if it was what's best. I think it was what was best, to give all the coaching I gave, to dig in deep, and then it's okay that we failed and talk about the failure. Like, I think that's all right.
Yeah.
But I look at but the virtual class that I've been teaching now for a while, they were, in my opinion, very successful last night. Like, their performances were very successful. We've been grinding every week. Like, I've been like digging into those people, and it's been rough, but they've stuck with it. And that one group, that one virtual class has grown and expanded and grown and expanded. And we've been really like just digging in. And then, you know, this is why Brian and I make a really good team coaching, because he's good at building community, having fun, helping people release, you know, and I'm good at like doing the grinding work, right? So because I've been doing that with them now for, I don't know how long, it's been 3 months or so. Yeah. Brian just comes in at the end and is like, all right, he helped him with that release process, and they killed. You know?
They were amazing.
And
last night.
It looks
so much so that, you know, I believe that you and I were watching like, dang, this is really fun to watch. I feel like I'm watching TV here.
Totally.
And then number two, one of the students from the class goes, dang, I really like I didn't know what to think about virtual. I thought it wouldn't, like, I didn't know what to expect. That was awesome. That was really cool. It looked fun. That
class, you're right, took the virtual idea and proved it does work.
Yeah.
For anybody who's a naysayer, proved, yep, this totally works.
Yeah.
but I looked at it, and it's like, truthfully, I don't need any credit, but I watched it and I'm like, I know the pain we've been through to get to here.
Yeah.
I know. To everyone else, it looks like magic, and I heard everyone talking afterward. Oh, she's so good. Oh, that person's so good. How'd they come up with those ideas? And I'm like, I know.
I know.
I know exactly how they did it, because we worked on it.
Yeah.
Because we sat on certain ideas and we slowed down and we said, hey, you got to do this or this. And truthfully, I have notes for that class, big time notes, that would help them go even next level.
Yeah.
But you take someone like Priya. Priya was fantastic last night. Priya, to me, was one of the, I mean, that woman in general is one of my favorite stories.
Oh my gosh.
Because, you know, she started because her son took our program, Joey, back when I used to travel to schools and do after-school programs. Talk about grind, bro.
Yeah.
I was desperate to keep our company alive. I would do anything. I don't even care. So this was like, the kids are paying like $100 a semester, and I would travel, sometimes 20 minutes. Like, their school was at least 20 minutes away. I would bring my equipment with me. I would set it up. I'm getting paid peanuts. I'm talking nothing. And I'd show up in a classroom in an actual school, so there's desks everywhere. I had to move all the desks out of the way, set up for the class, teach this class of kids who half of them didn't want to be there because it was just an after-school program. It was just one of the options. We would do the class, and then afterward I have to put everything away and I have to come back, and literally peanuts, okay? If I took the years, and I'm talking years I did that, let's say it's like 2.5 years, and I had to earn not doing it. Truthfully.
Yeah.
Like, that's what, in my opinion, is like, that was me grinding, me figuring out a way to teach and do different things. If I take all the years of that and go, was it worth it? I'm gonna tell you, for Priya alone, because we picked up that one student that way, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Because I love that woman, okay? But here's what happened. Her son took that program. He came here a couple times, and then he went off and started doing other things successfully, and credits us for some things. You know, she saw the transformation in her own son. He just happened to get interested in other things, which I celebrate, as you know. Like, if we help you find the thing, the passion, like,
dude,
run, go.
One of my favorite success stories is Michael Brooker. You know,
Yeah.
I love him. We still talk.
Yeah.
Probably at least once or twice a month.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
He's super close with me, and he came in here and he could barely talk. Like, and we say that a lot, but like, people don't realize what that means. Like, they don't know how to socialize really, and how to put themselves out there. And then fast forward 2 years, they're doing improv and doing showcases, and you're like, that is not the same kid.
Right.
And his mom did a testimonial and talked about that and talked about the change. And now he's not doing acting, he's in a band. But he's in a band and he's performing like weekend on weekend and creating music and grinding the same way he did here.
He's sticking with
on
it.
that.
Yeah.
And we love those stories.
Yeah. And so anyway, back to Priya. So then Priya decides, well, what if I took a class? What if I tried it? And she was nervous. She had an accent. She was like, I'm going to try this thing. She worked for a huge company, and she wanted to maybe get some speaking experience. I actually don't know how long Priya's been here, but it's been years and years and years and years, maybe 5 years. She tapped in and gave in, got through the fear, and it took her years to get through the fear of just being up there, just doing it in general. And she was always asking questions, always curious, always like wanting to get better. She was a student. Well, that led to her getting a promotion at her work, another promotion at her work. She literally has such a big job for where she'd never even imagined in a million years she'd have the job she has. Now she has that. And I suspect she's going to keep rising, which I don't know how much higher you can get than she is, but I would imagine. And last night in the show, this woman who was reserved and nervous to be on stage and shy, she was literally a rock star.
Yeah.
Totally free, completely free, and was just like rocking it out. And it was like, it was one of the funniest things you've ever seen, but it was her freedom. It was her freedom that drew us in, that was so attractive to watch. And I saw, everyone else saw, because I heard them say it. They're like, I don't know who that is, but she's good. I heard a student say, I don't know who that is, but she's good. And I saw it and I go, wow, that freedom right there, that's like 7 years worth of work on display for one moment. And how cool is that?
Look at my new guitar. It's the best initiation ever.
Oh,
So funny. And again, like the way the virtual worked with that, I was almost jealous, you know, because it's like playing from the sides, but there's certain things you can do in virtual that you can't necessarily do playing from the sides.
And you get jealous because they're good.
Yeah. So it's like, dang, I want a piece of that pie.
Because they're good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And so you take this and you're like, yeah, you know, some people are like, well, I'm not a virtual person. Well, that's because you didn't get good at virtual. You're not a virtual person because you didn't get good at virtual. That'd be like me going like, well, I'm not really a Spanish speaking kind of person. It's like, no, you didn't do the work to learn how to speak Spanish. Let's just say that. Let's just say, you know, you didn't do it, you didn't commit, but you're not that kind of person or not that kind of person. I mean, it's not the way it is. But no, it was awesome. It was really, really great. So anyway, so testament now back to this idea of grind, of stick-with-itness. And eventually you find yourself into a place where you're like, you know what? And I'm not talking about settling. I'm talking about settling in.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's a difference between settling for a job and settling into a job, into people that you believe in, that you love the culture, the atmosphere, and then you say, this is the vehicle from which I'd like to grow within. And it doesn't mean forever, but it might mean forever, and that's not a scary thing. And I think that scares a lot of people, a lot of kids especially, like, oh, one thing, like, yeah, but I want to not be, you know. But the problem is every time you start over, what you do is you know, of course when you change jobs, it's better for like however long, a couple months maybe, because change can be fun.
Yeah.
Something new can be fun. It's like it's a shiny thing. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I ran into, you know, just a manager I don't like and this and that, and it's all about them. And so you go to the new place, and you're like, I'm so happy, I got my new job, my shiny new job, you know. And then someone else gets promoted above you, and you're like, these guys, they don't appreciate me. And then you do the next job and the next job. And before you know it, you've done the 1 to 2 year initiation at a bunch of different jobs, but you never pushed past what it would have taken to rise up within any of them.
Yeah.
And so when you find a place that you believe in, that you believes in you, there does come a time when investing in, not settling, but settling into, digging your heels in a little bit and going, all right, if I'm not going to run my own thing, because I want to work for someone else. I want the advantages that come from working for someone else, because there are advantages. Now, let me push as hard as I can as if I did own the company. And I mean, dude, I told the person I was talking to last night, I said, trust me, a company like Lowe's does not take for granted lifers.
Yeah.
They don't take that for granted. If you sit down in your next interview and they're about to give you a promotion or whatever, and they're like, so how are things going? And you're like, great. I love it here. I'm very committed. I see myself here for the long term. They're gonna go, really? What do you mean by that? I don't know. I would love to just work through the company. I'd like to just put my head down and grind, learn as much as I can, and I want to see where I can take this, where I can help Lowe's go to the next level. Like I just love this company, and honestly, I could see myself here 25 years from now, and I'd like that a lot. they're going to go, and they're going to mark new marks on your report that they take, okay? That'll go through corporate. You don't get a promotion because of that, but they got an eye on you. And if they're smart, they will push you harder. They'll be a little stricter because they know they need to keep you in a certain place so you don't screw up, so that others can be led by you. Maybe they stick you in a leadership program. Maybe they put you in this. Maybe they send you to school, whatever it is. And they're going, okay. Because Lowe's knows that if they get a lifer, somebody who's willing to commit for the long term, that is really, really valuable to them.
Yeah.
And they will pay as long as you prove it.
Sure.
As long as you stick with it, they're going to go, I will pay a lot of money to keep this person around, to have them rise up within our company and our culture, to then teach others and to show others, by the way, here's what you can do. If you start at this position but you want to be here, you can go from here to here. Look what this person did over 2 decades. Anybody can do it. Mm-hmm. So you can be that testimony of somebody.
Yeah. I feel like you kind of use me as that testimony here.
Dude, I plan on doing that. Yeah, it's already the case. Mm-hmm. But even to the next degree.
Yeah.
You know? I guess that's true. Like I told you this like a while back. I'm like, I want you to be so crazy successful that people are like, whoa, what does he do? Like I want that for you and for me. Like it makes us look good, obviously, you know. So if you think about even the position you're in, you know, you've been grinding, been growing, been learning, been developing yourself along the way, been making some money and doing this and that, been keeping your ear to the ground. And now, like, I know for a fact you're making more money than you thought you were going to make. You're driving a really nice car all of a sudden. You know, you got a place where you live that you pay for, and you know darn well that promotions are coming and raises are coming because I've told you so.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that you're always hungry, that you're always pushing, that you always want to get to the next level, but also that you're taken care of.
Yeah.
And that you know you're loved, and that you know that you're appreciated, and that you know if I got it, I'm going to give it to you. And it's important that you know that. So it's my standpoint, and I believe that a lot of business owners are that way. Mm-hmm. There are certain big companies that have to pay out to their investors, and they have to do this and that. But the core of the business, they understand they got to take care of the people that run the business. They have to. Right?
Yeah.
And so, anyway, we take this idea of grinding, and the grind is doing what you don't want to do every day. That's what it is. And it's not glamorous. It sucks. The grind is not easy. The grind is writing every day for 3 months, and none of it is any good. You throw all of it away. I've actually done that. You know, I've written 6 months worth of writing every day, and it all went in the trash can. Every word of it. But I had to write all that in order to know what I was going to write. I had to write the crap to go back and rewrite it in such a way that it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be a bestseller, maybe, but it's going to change lives for sure. I had to do the other step, but the only way I got done was having a new perspective on, I'm not writing this for that purpose. I'm writing this to write.
Yeah.
I'm writing this to stick with my habit. Mm-hmm. You know, and let's be honest, Joey. You don't want to be here this morning when you wake up today.
Oh, yeah, no.
Right?
No.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't want to be here this morning when I wake up. I don't.
Yeah.
Yesterday was such a long day. By the time I finally fell asleep, I literally fell asleep on the couch last night. Mm-hmm. I woke up passed out at like 4, which is what time I normally wake up. But I was like, I'm going to reset my alarm for like 5:30. I need a couple hours of extra sleep. So I do that, and I crawl into bed. So my wife wakes me up, like, I don't remember what time it was, like 6:15. And she's like, hey, babe, I don't know if you need to get up for the show. And I'm like, I do, thank you. You know, I've defaulted to thank you in the mornings. And then...
Which is really cool,
and
by
then,
the way.
And then I'm like, you know, trying to listen to the Bible and trying to, like, do my thing. And I'll be honest with everybody, like, I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the show today.
Mm-hmm.
That's what grind is. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so happy we did the show.
Oh, me too.
I think it was a great show. I love every minute, every second that I'm here. Mm-hmm. Even starting was hard for you and I.
Yeah.
I know it. I could feel it. I was playing motivation. Like, we got there. But it took a second to go, like, ugh, right?
Yeah.
But it's doing what you don't want to do. And it's interesting, too, because the shiny thing is having a podcast, having a video show, having a whatever. And you're like, you know, and before you have one, you're like, oh, that would be nice. Well, it's not as nice as you think every day. It's not so easy to wake up every day, to come up with material every single day.
Yeah.
And yet, when you do it, when you follow through on whatever it is that you're doing, your particular grind, and that is the thing, you do the thing you don't want to do in order to get to do the thing you want to do. And I told Brian this a long time ago. The reason I have anything to even say on a daily basis is the fact that I have been reading, studying, writing every day since February 2nd, 2018.
Yeah.
From that, I have stored up material that I can then talk on, and it's not like I prepare for just today. I prepare for today and 10 days worth, and then whatever comes out, comes out.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson said that. He said most lecturers screw up because they're first-time lecturers and they prepare what they're going to say that day, but that's all they know. And he's like, you need to know 10 times more than what you're going to talk about, and then kind of like filter through what you think you're going to say, and then all the material comes through, and then that's how you kind of like find your way through in a positive way. And I really like that, and I'm like, that makes sense. And that actually makes sense for why I wasn't as good before, because I was still learning and grabbing and you know, trying to figure things out. And the truth is, I also knew that. You remember me saying this. I'm like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for a daily show. I'm not ready for public speaking. I don't have that skill set yet. I have to earn that skill set. I have to do what it takes to be good like that.
Yeah.
And that's when, you know, the daily getting on Shakespeare out loud and reading my own writing out loud and pretending to do speeches. I did it every single day before the lights were on, before the camera was on, for years.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
For sure.
And now I hope that I look back on this show, I look back on how we started, even where we are right now, and I look back 5 years from now, and I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you didn't know. You're so much better. Good for you for doing it. Thank you for doing it, past me, because without you having done that, we would never be where we are now. But dude, you've grown so much. Like, I want to look back and go, dang, I'm better now. What were you going to say?
100%. I was just saying, going off this idea, like, it's funny because you're so right. It's like, it was really hard to be here today, right? But then you look into it and you go, well, who's watching? Nick, Joanne, Astrid. You know, it's all a little different.
They're grinding too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
By tuning in, they're grinding, yes.
Yes. So they were here yesterday too. They had masterclass yesterday too. Astrid and Nick came and helped me with production. Like, there's certain things where maybe they didn't have the same struggles we have, maybe, you know, whatever. They're up at 7 a.m. watching the show.
It might have been harder for them.
Yeah.
Less hours might have been harder for them if they weren't used to that kind of grind. It's possible, you know. I don't know the answer there, but I know that the first time I did masterclass, I went home and just slept all day afterward. Yesterday, I accomplished more things and then taught all night and then still stayed afterward to talk to students, and then I was still up the next morning doing this, you build up a new tolerance. So
Yeah.
100%, I totally agree with you. And then going back to the grind, I've said this from the beginning. I don't care if there's 1 million people watching or one person watching. To me, it's not a difference. I don't care if it's just me on the show or me and you on the show, or if we have some guest that's got 200,000 followers. To me, it's the same prep, the same importance, because if anybody's watching and they decide to take their time to tune in, like, I want to make sure you get something from this.
Yeah.
It really matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the why that I believe is gonna help propel us and keep us going and make sure that we still do get to impact people.
Yeah.
Super high level.
For sure. And you can't do it without the audience.
Well, speaking of the grind, I've got some daddy grind to do. My kids just showed up, so I'm super excited to hang out with them. Joey, I think that's a good time to wrap our show. What do you think?
I'd say that's a pretty good time to wrap the show.
Woo, 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 woo. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
right.
thank you so much for tuning in. It's been the Mornings with Matt show, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. Please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and
Comment, follow.
help us spread this light-driven content to the planet. Thank you, and God bless. Grind, baby. Let's